Hello everybody. Today we're back talking about the Great New Zealand and South Seas International Exhibition of 1925-26. Last time we considered some of the designs that appeared on the plethora of souvenir material that was generated as mementos of the grand occasion. And we also considered the work of official exhibition photographers Hugh and G.K. Neal in capturing views of the exhibition for posterity. Something I didn't get round to mentioning in the last episode was that Hugh and G.K. Neal had a big stand in the number 2 pavilion, the Machinery Pavilion, which also housed the Otago Court. They displayed the latest and best in scientific equipment, photographic supplies, cameras, film and so on, and you could also purchase a copy of an official souvenir view album, or a pack of 12 miniature views, or a souvenir postcard or two here. And you could drop off your own films for processing and then pick up the negatives and prints from their store in George Street at Camera Corner, not Camora Corner as it's been misspelled in this advertisement, when they were done. There were a number of working displays at the exhibition where you could see machinery in action and things being manufactured. Hugh and G.K. Neal had wanted to run machinery at their stand in the Machinery Pavilion that would demonstrate how photographs were printed using the latest equipment. But it hadn't been possible to do that, so instead they set up a miniature darkroom and a machine for printing double C prints in their shop window at Camera Corner and had a staff member showing how it was done. Large crowds congregated outside the shop as people peered through the orange-tinted glass that kept the room dark enough for the process to work. Let's move on and talk about artwork on display at the exhibition. Like the 1889-90 exhibition, there was art on display all over the place. But I'm going to focus on 3 displays in particular: the International Exhibition of the Fine Arts, the New Zealand Salon of Photography, and work of women artists displayed in the women's section of the exhibition. The International Exhibition of the Fine Arts was located in the exhibition's standalone art gallery building, which after the exhibition was over would become a new home for the Dunedin Public Art Gallery. This is the committee established to govern the Fine Arts exhibition, or rather it's part of the committee as there were 4 others who were absent from the photo. And this is Ernest Marsh, a recently retired English businessman, fine arts collector and patron, and founding member of the Contemporary Art Society in Britain, who was brought in as gallery director, and whose job was partly to promote the sale of the British works which were on display. There were hundreds of works on display, all of it modern art in the form of oil paintings, watercolours, prints and sculpture by living artists, not just from Britain, but France, America, Australia and New Zealand as well. The art gallery was open from 10 a.m. until 9:30 p.m. Monday to Saturday. There was an admission charge on weekdays, but Saturdays were free, and school groups were free anytime. The number of works by Otago-based artists was relatively small, just 15 paintings, 8 in oils and 7 watercolours by 11 local artists, including the 3 you see here. Another of the local artists was John W. Brock, an Englishman who had settled in Dunedin in 1914, who was a stained glass window maker by trade and who went on to become one of the most prolific stained glass window designers in New Zealand. Smith & Smith, the company he was working for at the time of the exhibition, had a display in the Secondary Industries Pavilion and won a First Order of Merit for stained glass windows and LED lights. But in the Fine Arts Gallery it was 2 of Brock's watercolours that were on display. Brock had held his first paintings auction shortly before the exhibition opened. 38 oil paintings and watercolours went under the hammer, including one titled American Destroyers at Wharf, in which he had captured another hugely significant event in 1925, the visit by 15 American naval ships for a few days in August, as part of a tour of Australia and New Zealand by 57 vessels of the US Navy's battle fleet. The New Zealand Salon of Photography, located in an annex to the art gallery, comprised hundreds of photographs from all over the world, some of which were on loan and some for sale. 9 local photographers submitted about 25 of the photographs. George Chance, member of the Fine Arts Committee and chair of the subcommittee which selected the photographs displayed in the salon, was one of them. And he was awarded the First Order of Merit for pictorial photography at the exhibition. Chance was an optician, and after emigrating to New Zealand in 1909, had become manager for Dunedin Opticians Dawson's Limited. He joined the Dunedin Photographic Society in 1917. By 1919, he'd begun exhibiting his work, and he would soon become well known as one of the leading exponents of art photography in New Zealand. In 1923, he was awarded the Fellowship of the Royal Photographic Society of Great Britain, an honour that had only been awarded to 2 other New Zealand residents at that time. One of the other New Zealand-based Fellows of the Royal Photographic Society was Reverend George Herbert Roebuck Osceola Fenton, who was the son of Dunedin's first Anglican clergyman. He too exhibited at the 1925 exhibition and was a member of the selection committee for the photography display in the Art Gallery Annex, and he was also the judge for the photography category at the exhibition, which included not just photographs on display in the salon, but displays of photographs, cameras, and other photographic equipment anywhere in the exhibition. Reverend Fenton was well known for conducting lantern slide presentations of photographs taken during his extensive overseas travels, and this was also the subject of the photos he exhibited in the salon, which included a view of the piazza in Rome, another of a street in Tunis, and one from a boat off the coast of Lisbon. The third display of art that we're going to look at was in Pavilion number 4. Here you'd find displays from Canada, Australia and the Pacific, but it was also where you'd find the women's section. The women's section contained hundreds of examples of fine arts, needlework, ceramics, metalwork, woodwork, literature and applied art, which included such things as toys, basketry, wallpaper design and so on. Work came in from all over the world. Some was for sale, some was for exhibit only. There was also a program of special exhibitions where additional works went on display for a short time, such as a dolls and toys exhibition in December 1925, for example. And there were spaces occupied by working exhibits too. Naturally, there were plenty of local exhibitors, too many of them to go into in any detail today, but I thought I'd quickly mention one of them. Margaret Shearer McLeod was born in Dunedin in 1876. She was one of the daughters of Helen McLeod and soap maker Ellen McLeod of McLeod Brothers, who died in 1883 when Margaret was still a child. In 1906, Margaret replaced Fanny Wimperis as art teacher at Otago Girls High School and subsequently taught there for 26 years. She was an accomplished painter, as this portrait of her mother demonstrates, but it was with applied arts that she was most successful at the exhibition, gaining a Second Order of Merit award for lampshades and commendations for china and fabric painting designs and for hand-dyed tapestry. We'll have to leave it there for now. See you next time, and thanks for watching.